let's stick with Lindsey Graham. I'm going to play a clip a little deep into this segment about his take on Biden's dealing with international affairs right now. The first clip I'm going to play is Lieutenant General Keith Kellogg, who is a former aide to Mike Pence, I believe his national security advisor for the vice president, something like that. And he has now endorsed Donald Trump, just completely betrayed Mike Pence, a man who Donald Trump put in harm's way and was encouraging his followers to kill. Remember, hang Mike Pence at the insurrection. So right now, there are a host of different conflicts across the globe. Many of them in the Middle East. I'm not specifically talking about the Israel-Hamas war right now. I'm talking about the conflicts in the Red Sea with the Kataib, Hezbollah, Iranian-backed militias, with the Houthi rebels out of Yemen. These are both Shia Muslim groups that are sowing chaos and putting our troops in harm's way. Specifically, there was an airstrike in northern Iraq on the Kataib Hezbollah militia groups in retaliation for harming U.S. service members. You might know I was in the United States Marine Corps. These issues are near and dear to my heart, and I follow them. But what really starts making things amiss is when you get politics involved and people who are craven political operators like former retired Lieutenant General Keith Kellogg. Because Joe Biden ordered a strike. They say they killed multiple people who were the Kataib Hezbollah group. And it wasn't enough. You see, if Biden had done nothing, it would have been a problem. If Biden had followed the advice that Lieutenant General Keith Kellogg gives here, which is go way outside the box. They need to do something disproportionate, he says. If Biden had done that, this would be a completely different segment from Keith Kellogg. This would be, oh my God, they did too much. It was crazy. Oh, what are they trying to do? Start World War III? You see, certain things should be above and beyond politics. Certain things, like the safety of our troops globally, I mean, you can have an opinion one way or the other about whether they should be there. That's irrelevant to the fact that they are there, and they shouldn't be placed in harm's way unnecessarily. And when they are harmed by an enemy combatant, there needs to be an answer. Joe Biden did what he did. I believe it was correct. I believe it was prudent. I believe it was called for. And this is what Keith Kellogg thinks about it all.
Saying, we hear you, but we're really not listening to you. Mm-hmm. When we're looking at what's happening with the protection of the Red Sea, the Italians have gone their own way, the Spanish have gone their own way, the French have gone their own way. And now that even though some of the fleets, the major shipping fleets are putting ships back into the Red Sea, they're being very, very cautious. And the reason for that is you really don't trust us.
Florida Republican Congressman Mike Waltz, a combat veteran, is raising this concern. Let's play it.
I think it tells us and our adversaries and our allies loud and clear that deterrence is failing. We have put significant assets in the region, air defense assets, bombers, an additional aircraft carrier, and now have a multinational coalition of ships in the Red Sea, and yet the attacks keep continuing.
So how should the president and the Pentagon respond?
Well, what I mean, Mike, they need to do something disproportionate. Then we need to go way out of the box to bring it back into the box. And protecting the shipping through missile defense is wrong. They're going to have to go to the source of the problem. The source of the problem, one is in Yemen, and the second is Iran. When you look at what's happening with Kataib Hezbollah in Iraq right now, of attacking U.S. servicemen, what you're seeing the Houthis doing, the Houthis are not doing this on their own. They're being supplied by the Iranians. The Iraq paramilitary force is being supplied by the Iranians. You look at Hamas, you look at Hezbollah, all backed by the Iranians. Those are hard choices. I know the risk involved. I know it's hard to do that. But if they don't take a response and they don't make a hard response, this is going to continue. And the trouble is going to spin way out of control, and just not in the region, but globally as well.
From the Wall Street Journal editorial board, Biden endangers U.S. troops. Quote, Mr. Biden is afraid, we use that word advisedly, of being involved in a larger conflict, which might not be popular in an election year. But that anxiety is now interfering with his core obligation to defend U.S. forces. Is the president too worried about war with Iran?
Yeah, it's a pattern. And he set the pattern. It's risk avoidance. And you have to be willing to accept risk. You know, when you're inside the White House, those decisions come at you really fast and really hard. And you have to understand.
Keith Kellogg, Lieutenant General, is a wholly unserious person. This is playing politics with the lives of American service members. When it's very clear his advice, his recommendations, his concerns, and his criticisms would be different if Biden had acted differently. That's a problem. That no matter what the United States Commander-in-Chief of our armed forces does, he's going to be criticized by these people. Because remember when Donald Trump was president, it was all, oh, it's peacetime. There's Middle East peace. Remember Donald Trump? He solved conflict in the Middle East with his Abraham Accords. And weird that there's not a lot of peace in the Middle East right now. You see, this is what Republicans do. They have no core ideologies. They have no remedies for what ails the world. All they have is criticism. It is armchair quarterback. And chief among them, the Hall of Fame armchair quarterback, is Lindsey Graham, who was on with Fox and Friends, the B or C team, and this is what he had to say about all of this.
You mentioned crime being an issue in New York City, and there are a lot of issues that we could talk about.
Yeah.
And we want to talk about what Trey Yanks was just mentioning.
Yeah.
We are now at, 103 attacks on our troops in Iraq and Syria.
Yeah.
And then 21 international vessels have also been attacked by the Houthis in the Red Sea. How did we get to these numbers?
Weakness. We're fighting the Houthis. We beat the Germans and the Japanese. We should be able to beat the Houthis. Secretary Austin and the Biden administration is failing our troops in the field. I admire him. He's a patriot, but he's not doing a good job protecting the soldiers. I asked him a couple of months ago, Joey, what you were talking about. Is there a red line? Would you tell our enemies publicly that if you kill an American, we're coming after you? Without Iran, there are no Houthis. The Houthis are completely backed by Iran. I've been saying for 6 months now, hit Iran. They have oil fields out in the open. They have the Revolutionary Guard headquarters you can see from space. Blow it off the map. If you really want to protect American soldiers, make it real to the Ayatollah. You attack a soldier through a proxy, we're coming after you.
I don't know why he's maligning Darius Rucker. Is that that's the lead singer of the Houthis, right? Houthi and the Blowfish. Look, blow them off the map and we're fighting the Houthis. Isn't a prescription for peace. It's not a prescription for how to deal with these disparate militia-type organizations. These are led by warlords, funded certainly by Iran. That is a problem. But what are we going to do? Start World War III? Blow them off the map is not a nuanced adult solution to this problem. That's what young Republicans believe is foreign policy. But that's not what flies in the real world. And a senator with the experience of Lindsey Graham should know that. The problem lies in the fact that they are here for Donald Trump to bolster his chances at a second term in 2025. They're not here for the safety and the security of the United States of America. And that in itself is a danger.